Hello, making a video. It is dark outside and I have to use my lamp, and this camera is so weird. I need some kind of podest for it. I don't know, pedestal for it. Now I have to keep it on arm's length. Literally, I have to keep my tablet on arm's length. And that is exhausting because I have to have my arm like stretched out like this. Anyway, I want to talk about the conversations that I had in recent weeks with people, and in particular with a very sweet guy with glasses, and you know who you are. I am not revealing identities. So anyway, uh, great conversations, all of those, and very interesting for me. Hobby psychologist, it's very interesting to talk to people, and it's not like I'm the one who is, I'm not the scientist who is looking into your brain. I'm showing my brain to you as well. So I'm playing fair with that. Quid pro quo, as Dr. Hannibal Lecter always said. So anyway, yeah. So quid pro quo comes from Latin, for anyone who doesn't know what it means. I'm sure you know what it means, but for anyone else out there, no. It means, quid means the same, pro for, and quo is this. Same for this. So an equation. So if you write 1 equals 1, so it's sort of that. 2 equals 2, and 1 equals 0 plus 1. You can endlessly go on with it. As long as the equation is balanced, then it is quid pro quo. So anyway, it is super interesting to talk to people. I wished I could see a lot of those people's faces. Most of them hide themselves, and I think that's very sad. But some of them do have some few photos of themselves on there, and then I just have to come up with my own conclusions and stuff like this, and also where people are from and what their culture is and what their religion is and upbringing, and all of these things, they play into how people are thinking. And again, I said it many times before, people think that everyone comes from their own vantage point and thinks that he or she is, coming to see the world in a very unbiased way. So everyone thinks that. I think it's some sort of like a natural kind of reaction. They go into the world, they look at things, they look at other people, and they judge everything, of course, according to how they were brainwashed. And we all have been brainwashed. No one is exempt from that. Everyone has been brainwashed to a certain degree. Some people more, some people less. But everyone thinks that they look at everything in a completely unbiased way. They have an unbiased perspective on the world. And because of this mindset, they will judge other people. They will not understand other people. They won't understand that other people are also brainwashed, or they will accuse other people of being brainwashed and not seeing their own ways of being brainwashed and their own upbringing and their own family, and they don't question that. They take that as it's given, this is what it is. A Christian will think that their upbringing, that's the norm, that's the normal. A Muslim will come from his vantage point and will look at the Christian and think that is very unnormal. So, and both of them look at each other and they think, you are not normal, you're not the norm. But then if you look at it from above, you see that either one is coming from a very brainwashed bias. Okay? And now take it a step further, since I'm not an atheist, and I'm not a person who adheres to Newtonian physics necessarily, or linearity. I have read a lot of different papers and a lot of different books and seen a lot of different discussions. And I'm coming to the conclusion myself that it is very illogical. It would be very illogically and very flawed and very fallacious and very misled for anyone to believe that things are based on a Newtonian linear foundation. Things like this can be useful for certain measurement and stuff here on Earth, in this particular point in the coordinate system of infinity, in this particular realm of gravitational fields, energy, 3D, maneuvering, dragging oneself through. Yes, it's a very difficult realm that we live in here with our hormones. Jiddu Krishnamurti always pointing that out. He talks about it all the time. And so, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that eludes this when you go into microcosm, as well as when you go into macrocosm. Things will elude linearity. And so I've been talking about this a lot in my videos, and I want to talk to people about this, and I want to get people to think about it and talk about it and ask questions. Questions over and over and over and over. You cannot ask too many questions. It's just impossible. Ask as many questions as you can in your lifetime, okay? Because then you move forward. Then you proliferate brain-wise, okay? And that's what we want to do. We want to be in a state of proliferation, like the earthworm, I was observing an earthworm earlier today. It was so much fun. It's like looking at those lava lamps. It is very relaxing. We do everything. We compost. Again, I walk my talk. Anyone out there from that Benatar Peterson conversation, I walk my talk. So just in case you happen to be curious to look at my videos. But anyway, I was turning a compost container upside down, and I had to turn this over because the hay that we have in there was getting wet, and in order to let the water drain out. And then there were a bunch of earthworms underneath. And they always gather there because they get through those holes, because they want to get to the decomposing grass clippings. And one of them was very big. One of them was as big as my forefinger, like and very long. You know, when he's kind of condensed, he would be like my finger, and then he would expand out and be like 12 inches long. And I saw that was the first time when I saw an earthworm poop. I almost took my tablet to film that, but I don't know if I was too lazy. You know, I'll do this another time. But that was my chance. I should have done that. A pink earthworm, very phallic, by the way, and with a lot of veins inside. It actually looks like blood. But what you see is the decomposing grass clippings that they slurp up, and then that looks like blood, but it's not blood. So they have a different type of water just running through them, and kind of like a plant, but much more neurons and everything. So, you know, very reactive to the outside environment, to light, and also touch. I petted that earthworm a little bit with the leaf, and immediately started to contract as a defense mechanism. And I saw that the butt end, where the poop was coming out, was also exploring in the opposite direction. So the worm expands and explores in both directions. Very funny. So, but anyway, it's very analogous to life itself. And also earthworms, as Paul Watson said, it's very important that people know this. The earth needs earthworms. The earth does not need humans, okay? So this is very important for anyone out there who's interested in biology or has studied biology, you know, and anyone who's honestly studying with intellectual honesty will confirm that. Yes, it's true. You know, the earth needs earthworms, but not humans. Okay? So the earthworms are much more important. It's much more primal, that animal, and much more rudimentary. We have evolved from nematodes, by the way, you know. And without the earthworms, things would not be decomposing as fast, and that would create unbelievable chaos. And that's why you don't want to use pesticides. Very important. But anyway, earthworm as an analogy, you know, the earthworm proliferates not just physically, they kind of divide. So they're hermaphrodite animals. They divide and divide and divide, and make new ones out of it. And but the way they navigate is they stretch long and they proliferate themselves forward, and that's kind of like a curiosity type of movement, you know. And in the same way, all animals are curious and want to explore. And the cats, you know, we have two cats coming to us. They are bored and lonely, and I don't know, they may have been abandoned by someone. They're very cuddly, they need petting a lot, and we feed them. Papa Dog doesn't want them in the house, but you know, when he's upstairs with me, the one black kitty comes in and cuddles with Paul on his recliner chair. And so, and they're all of these animals are very curious, you know. It's always this curiosity in the eyes, you know, exploring everything, checking things out with the paws. And so this is built into us, into all of us animals. We're animals, okay? We have needs, animal needs. And so it's this natural instinct of curiosity. And for the more evolved animals, the more cognitive animals, such as whales, elephants, and humans, and dogs too, you know, that they don't do math, but they're very good with a lot of things, and they're much better with some things than we are, you know, like sense of smell and knowing how to trace a certain scent trail, and they are very, very cognitive, much more than you give them credit for. And people always misunderstand other animals so much. They will they put their own neurotic things. They project their own neurotic things into animals. Like they will project something into an animal or child, such as he knew he wasn't supposed to do this, and that's completely wrong vantage point to approach a living being. In order to communicate with a living being, we have to understand where they're coming from and what their needs are, and what their cognitive abilities are according to species and age, and not always interpreting something into them that they are not capable of in that particular moment in time or evolutionary development. So, but that doesn't mean that they are, doesn't mean they're less developed or anything. They're just, they develop differently, sideways, sort of, it's like a side branch. There's a whole lot of side branches besides humans, and humans always put themselves at the center of everything, but we are not at the center of things. So we have a lot of cousins out there, and they have each their own environment and expertise according to that environment. And so people need to take this into consideration. And so also what I wanted to talk about, is I want to talk bit about psychology, and yeah, we do have the need to procreate. We have the physical need to procreate because, we want to do this, but our brain, hopefully we have enough of a cognitive brain that can say, now wait a minute, don't do that, take birth control first. So because a lot of people, they get carried along with it, just like a dog, just like an elephant or another animal. And you are not any more what should I say? You are not any more evolved in that type of function. So, but, if you feel like you have enough cognitive capacity, then you will use your brain, and it will jump in at the right moment and say, wait, I have to use birth control first. And some people are taking the pill. I don't. I have tried that. It doesn't work for me. It made me depressed and kind of mad at everyone. So it didn't work very well. And it's also bad for the liver. So I always take those ovule with non-oxynol 9 is the substance. This is spermicide, and yeah, it's all not totally natural and all of this, but that's always better than the consequences. So people out there, birth control, okay? Take birth control. Don't be totally mindless, okay? And don't take offense to this, because I'm telling you the truth. Okay? There's too many people already. Don't do it. So anyway, and there's nothing wrong with abortions. Okay, I had 3. Sorry to say it. It's probably gonna piss a lot of people off, but that's how it has to be done. Early abortion is okay. So all abortion, we can't put a limit to it. We can't legally put a limit. I just personally wouldn't go beyond 3 months, but we can't put a limit onto it, then we will really get into some troublesome discussions and grinding, you know, guilt trips and whatever. You know, no, it's up to the woman to make that decision, and it is what David Benatar said. It is better not to exist because existing is harsh. But yeah, I personally, you know, when they are past 3 months, then obviously they are a sentient being. So, and then they do feel pain and all of this, and it is harsh. So, but not when they're like this. No. Okay. No. That's a larvae. That's like maggot, wasp type of wasp. I've seen wasp larvae, and they look exactly like that. They don't look like a little person, like the fundamentalists are trying to portray this. No, they do not. So they don't even have limbs like this. They're like a little worm. Yeah, look at biology. Look at how an embryo develops. It goes through all the phylogenetical stages of human evolution in its own ontological development phase. So yeah, it is. I think all of these things are so incredibly important to teach kids in schools. But I have this funny feeling because I talk to people here in rural U.S. I'm not going to say where, but rural U.S. and libraries, and to my shock, I have seen many proud creationists, saying to me proudly that they are creationists and that they do not teach evolution. And I said, oh my gosh, how incredibly sad. And when I say that, then of course they become very offstandish and they become like a little child who says, na 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 na. Yeah, we always have these type of encounters, and that's not very good. Okay, it's very important to point this out. You know, I have the right to criticize this. We all have the right to criticize that, and if we don't criticize it, how can it become better? So we need to make it better for the future. We need to take creationism out of schools, out, okay, and evolution in, and science. Okay. That doesn't mean I'm stuck with science or with, I'm not stuck with, and that's what I was talking about earlier, and that's what I have been talking to a lot of people about. That a lot of people come from this other vantage point of everything is linear and scientific. So it's neither linear, it's neither stuck with a certain type of atheism, nor is it uh, Pollyannarishly churned together into a complete religious chaos made out of fairy tales. So that's not either. That's even more dishonest. That's really at rock bottom, you know. It's religion, it's the religious dishonesty. Then in the middle, a science, sort of like a tabula rasa. I get along well with those people. But then there's another level on top of that that I call panpsychism and cosmism, and that mindset is completely open and completely agnostic, if you want to use that word, towards endlessness. And that's what I always like to talk about, because and that a lot of people are terrified about this endlessness. So, but anyway, what I wanted to say to the kid with the sweet kid with the glasses is that, and maybe we can talk also sometime on Google Hangout if you are interested in talking about philosophy and all of this. So I am not someone who plays games at all. I am not someone who ever wants to have an upper hand. So I'm not into upper hand, I'm not into lower hand, I'm not into a power game or power struggle or any. All of this is based on self-images, and we need to dissolve that. We need to dissolve ego and self-images and all of these cliches and all of these social norms and social standards and all of these traditions, that all of that needs to be completely investigated. It needs to be questioned. It needs to be cross-examined. That's what you need to do with your own culture. And then we can move forward. Then we can start fresh, like as Jiddu always says, like a fresh flower that constantly renews itself and flowers, constant flowering. And that's what I call the state of eternal proliferation, mentally, mental proliferation. Being in the state of now, as Eckhart is talking about, or Thich Nhat Hanh, or many, 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 many teachers are talking about the state of now. Nisargadatta Maharaj, check him out because this is very important. This sense, this importance that the ego puts into itself, that has to be dissolved. I am not important. I am not having the upper hand. I am not trying to be a guru. I'm not. I I feel like a mother sometimes, to all living beings. That doesn't put me on a pedestal, though. That's just because I care. And then when I care promptly, I get this, I bet you think you're better than anyone else. And I get this from, not from you, but from a lot of people. I get this. I get that always from those people who are intellectually dishonest and who usually cling to religion. They will say this. And those are also the meat eaters. Those are also the ones that are clinging to all kinds of projections and images and stuff like this, and role play and all of these things. So I'm completely against, I'm completely outside of all of this. I want nothing to do with any of these type of role plays. This is how a woman behaves, this is how a man behaves. So when it comes to sexuality, I am just me. I am flowing with that divine feminine. I am just, that's my body. I obey my body. My body is boss, and I mean my body wants to proliferate, but that's where I say no, sorry. But yeah, when it comes to these needs, there's nothing to blush about, to snicker about, or apologize about, or say, oh, I showed a little bit more cleavage. I should apologize for all of this. No, no. That's my body. Those are my physical demands. I like that. I need that. We all do. I'm not an individual case. I'm just talking more openly about this than most people. But and I think it should be discussed. People shouldn't be feeling ashamed about any of these being. I'm an animal. Should I be ashamed about this? No. I eat, I drink, I have needs. I need to go into nature. I need to go hiking. My body demands that. I need to breathe good air from a forest. This is my animal need, all of these. And so we shouldn't be ashamed about this. This is very important. So, Jiddu Krishnamurti, they're talking. They're always talking in the background, and I feel like I'm not alone. They are there. Their energy is in my living room, in my studio, and that's very cool. So anyway, I just wanted to, maybe you can make me a video too. The cute guy with the glasses would be very awesome. So if you can, don't be shy, show yourself. Let's get the discussion going. Yeah. Okay, you guys take care. Bye bye.